What drives you that has allowed you to stay in what you're doing for such a long time? Because it's over 10 years and that's a long time.
That is a very long time. That's a great question. First of all, I can tell you that what drives me in the beginning is definitely what is different from today. So what drove me in the beginning was I didn't want to grow like so we grew up I grew up poor. My family immigrated to Canada when I was 8 years old, with nothing. Like I think at the lowest point, my parents had just $1,000 in their bank account, so it wasn't a lot. And the three of us, we rented a 2 bedroom. So I'm the only child. We rented like a 2 bedroom apartment in Jen and Finch, which is not it's a ghetto, very very ghetto
Mhm.
area in Toronto. And even then, my parents couldn't afford their rent, so they rented out the other bedroom. So the three of us
Wow.
were actually in one of the bedrooms. So at the beginning, it was like years and years of that, and for me, it was saying that I just don't want to I just don't want to be that person. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like I had a trust fund lying around or anything like that.
Right.
So it was like if I didn't make it for myself, it was just never going to happen. So in the beginning, what drove me very intensely was just not wanting that lifestyle anymore. Uh, and after my business started to take off, I think it became harder and harder to justify as the bank account got bigger and bigger in a way. And it did take some soul searching after that point. I took off and I went to California and I just stayed on the beach for a good almost a year,
Wow.
definitely over half a year, and it got really boring. And one thing I realized from that was that it kind of go went back to the story that I heard, and it was like this person walks into this palace and they got lobsters and they got steak and they got cakes uh, and like every day, and then they go to the slot machine and they win every time, and it's like good things happen over and over. And then they ask God, like, is this heaven? And then God says, how do you know it's heaven? Maybe maybe it's hell, something like that. So the story went something like that, and that kind of resonated with me because it's
Yeah.
like it's not having all those stuff that gives you like meaning and purpose, because you kept on getting that. It gets old, it gets boring, and it's not really a problem that I know is talked about a lot. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and and then I just realized, like, there was more I wanted to do in life. um and when your brain goes idle, like you will always have problems, so you get to choose the problems that you have in life, though. So you either
Right.
choose good problems or bad problems. So in my personal life, I just started to realize, like, when I wasn't focused on work, I was attracting like just a lot of bad stuff happening. um and so it now I do it for the love of the game. um and because I feel like it is making an impact, and it's just like, yes, that funnel
Yeah.
worked, or something like that. um and so it did take a very very big mindset shift, and this is a simplified version, but it did take me about 2 years to actually you know find